So longevity and inflation absolutely need to be factored into everybody's plan for retirement expenses and the income that's needed to cover them.
Peter, hello, good to see you. Welcome back to everyone. Another great topic for you today. Can you retire comfortably on $4,000 a month? Median monthly income for retirees is just over $4,100 a month. That's according to Motley Fool. Of course, the answer, though, all depends on where you live, your expenses, and your other income sources. So, Peter, when someone asks you, is $4K a month enough to retire, what is the first thing you tell them?
I asked them, I don't know, is it? Right? I've got to figure that out with you. Now, of the $4,000 a month club that Motley Fool is talking about, remember that more than 40% of the American retired public lives off Social Security and Social Security alone.
Right.
So that is probably a large portion of that group. But in order to answer that question, is $4,000 a month, I generally would go through a line of questioning. How much have you been making? What are you used to living off of for an income? Do you track expenses? Do you keep a budget? Does that budget tell you that $4,000 is enough to live on and meet your expenses?
Mhm.
Are you talking about $4,000 a month with or without Social Security, before or
Right.
after including Social Security? Is that, just off of your savings, or does that is that inclusive of Social Security or pensions? Is that a gross number or a net number? If you're spending $4,000 a month, then $4,000 a month of income isn't going to be enough, because we've got to factor in taxation into your income in retirement. That's not going to go away. And I'd remind people that around $4,000 a month of income the first year of retirement, if we followed the 4% rule, that would be more than $1 million that would be needed if that is cash flow and income that we are theoretically needing to generate from our portfolio, following the guidelines that Wall Street and the financial world have loosely followed for more than the last 3 decades. It's come to be known as the 4% rule. $48,000 a year is more than $1 million in your nest egg that would be needed to generate that. So do we have that? Can we generate that sustainably over the coming decades of retirement? Those would be some of the questions I would ask, Erin.
All right, I want to throw a couple more stats at you. According to Michael Ryan Money, about 16% of retirees fall into the 4,000 to 7,000 monthly spending range. So how do location and cost of living impact whether that 4,000 is realistic?
Well, I think, tremendously. There are certainly areas of the country that are more expensive to live in than others. Look, I've got clients that survive anywhere from $2,500 a month to more than $12,500 a
Yeah.
month, and even more than that. Like, there is such a range in expenses and quality of life and living. It really depends on your specific situation, what your expenses are, what you like to do, what activities you'll have. Are the kids up and out and off the payroll, not dependent any longer? Do you have a mortgage still, or is that paid off? Do you have discretionary assets for future financial security? Do you need to generate more over and above Social Security and pensions? Like, there's so much that goes into this. And yes, location matters, cost of living, your specific quality of life that you've sort of become accustomed to, that matters a whole lot, because as we work and earn an income, you would think that we are able to save more and more and invest more and more and live about the same. What happens is life gets more and more expensive as we earn more and more over our working career. And then suddenly, those that are used to earning a higher income and not having to pinch every penny and stretch every dollar, when they retire, their lifestyle expenses are generally that much more expensive. And the change in income the day after retirement is that much more dramatic. So we really need to plan and prepare for this and get back to kind of the root essential element of financial success, which is living within your means and budgeting, which nobody loves to do, but it's pretty important for this question.
Yeah. So what expenses should retirees factor in when deciding if that income will work?
Yeah, great question. I look at this a couple different ways because people come in with what I call the line item budget. If they are budgeting, they come in with one version of the budget, which basically itemizes all of the subsistence level expenses, the bare essentials. Here's my mortgage payment. Here's my utilities. Here's my gas. Here's my food. Here's my insurance. And it's all kind of line itemed out. Here's what I spend in a month. And what I find is that the biggest thing that's forgotten and overlooked there is lifestyle. And so what I ask people to do is what I call the look back budget. The line item budget is great, but before we decide that this is an appropriate target to try to achieve, let's look back at your core bank statements over the last 6 to 12 months. And on everybody's core bank account, there's kind of 4 numbers right on the front cover: beginning balance, credits, debits, and ending balance. The debits or withdrawals, like that's what you actually have spent month to month. And if you get that number over a 12-month period, kind of look at it, there'll be some high months, there'll be some low months, we'll get a running average. And really that's the number that we should be targeting. And a lot of times what I find is that is 30 to 50% higher than what somebody has told me they need with their line item budget. And the biggest difference in there, like one of our biggest expenses is lifestyle, is the things that we spend and don't have included in that line item budget.
Right, right. So how do other income sources like Social Security, pensions, or investments change that picture?
They are fantastic. Social Security is a very valuable source of income. Pensions, a very valuable source of income. I have done what I call the portfolio equivalent value for people who are talking about, well, I don't have much saved, but I have this pension. And I kind of work it backwards and say, well, if I was to try to generate for you the kind of income that pension or that Social Security represents, here's how much you would have had to have saved in additional investment, right? And $40,000 a year basically has the portfolio equivalent value of another $1 million of investable assets. So those two things can be very valuable, especially as we begin to stack them on top of each other. And the real value is that if we look at what our expenses are, and then we subtract Social Security and pensions, theoretically guaranteed lifetime sources of income that we don't have to generate, what we're left over, the income gap that our portfolio will have to generate for us, is that much smaller. And hopefully that would leave us more available assets for investment, continued investment, growth, and to utilize there for discretionary purposes, spending and vacations and additional properties, or, inflation and healthcare events and things like that into the future.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to my last question, Peter, because what role do inflation and longevity play in answering that question? And how can retirees protect themselves if they determine that $4,000 a month will not be sustainable long term?
Well, if $4,000 a month is sustainable today, it's not going to be sustainable long term because inflation and longevity are huge factors that we do need to consider. Look, I think it's recent enough. We all remember the post-COVID inflation, the 1 year or so where inflation was like 8-9%. Like that was super painful. And I get it. Like nobody loved seeing that and living through that year and the higher prices that we've paid since. But inflation did not just go away. And the compounding effect of a 3% inflation, kind of our historical average, works against us over time. Even to a greater extent, it's more impactful than just 1 year of high inflation is a decade of average inflation. And so if we look at retirement as possibly 2.5, 3 decades or more, like 30 years or more for many people these days, is kind of the least that we should plan and prepare for. Your expenses today are going to more than double over that period, just at average historical inflation. And we are living longer. and things are expensive and retirement's in the future. So it's going to be even more expensive than it is today. So longevity and inflation absolutely need to be factored into everybody's plan for retirement expenses and the income that's needed to cover them.
Peter, I thought this topic would resonate with a lot of people because we all certainly compare ourselves to, we want a yardstick to say, well, if a lot of people can get by on 4,000, maybe I can too. But talking it through with you, you come to recognize that there certainly is no one size fits all on this. So if somebody wants to figure out what their monthly budget in retirement should be, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me this, how much do I need to retire? Am I ready to retire? It's not a lump sum number. It is not your age. It is not how many years you have worked. None of those arbitrary numbers are going to tell you if you are financially prepared to face retirement and make it through it with confidence. You've got to sit down. You've got to formulate a plan. That's why we look at income first when we talk about retiring and helping people to structure their optimized retirement plan. Most of our clients have done a good job in earning income during their working career, but really have not looked at how to generate it sustainably and dependably during retirement. They've done a good job of investing during their working career, but haven't looked at how to turn those investments into a stream of income, don't understand the tax implications of all of the sources. So that's why we put together that optimized retirement plan for our clients, helping you complete it, looking at all 5 of the critical pillars: income, investments, taxes, healthcare, legacy, how all of these things are going to be brought together into a cohesive plan for you. And if you'd like to get that your optimized retirement plan, give me a call at Richon Planning. You will speak with me personally when we get together. We'll look over your situation. We'll put that optimized retirement plan together for you. 919-300-5886. There is no cost. It is a courtesy service that we offer for listeners and viewers of the show. So again, give me a call, Peter Richon at Richon Planning, 919-300-5886, 919-300-5886. You can also go online, richonplanning.com. It looks like Rich on Planning.com, and you can get in touch with us that way.
Great. Peter, thank you.
Always a pleasure, Erin. Thank you. Important topic. Good conversation. Hey folks, Peter Richon here with Richon Planning. So glad that you are enjoying the podcast, Planning Matters Radio. One of the tools that we've put out there that people really seem to appreciate and really are finding of value is at 919retired.com. It is your retirement tax bill calculator. If you've got any kind of retirement account, your tax deferred, 401k or IRA, this is the website, this is the resource where you can go, you can plug in your own numbers, your information, you can slide the tool calculator up and down for your tax rate or your amount of savings and see what your tax bill is likely to be if you default and defer to the IRS's plan versus what you could potentially bring that tax bill down to. A lot of times it is a very significant savings. So if you have not yet, go to the website 919retired.com, run your numbers on the retirement tax bill calculator.
This has been Planning Matters Radio.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.